Welcome to the Your Living Proof podcast. If you love someone struggling with addiction and are searching for answers, we're so glad you found us. Families are the cornerstone of long-term recovery, yet they often go unsupported. Our mission is to strengthen and support this vital but often overlooked part of the addiction recovery process. We're here to help families understand what their role is and isn't in this journey. Addiction deceives and takes everything you're willing to give. But if you know better, you can do better. And we're here to help you do just that. If you're asking, how can I help my addicted loved one? This is your community.
If you enjoy watching podcasts, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. For more support and resources between episodes, follow us on Instagram at Your Living Proof or visit our website at yourlivingproof.com. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Your Living Proof podcast. We are so excited to be in the booth today recording.
I know, it feels good to be back. We've done summer a little bit different. So we've had more time in between episodes and I actually kind of miss it.
Well, everyone does things different in summer. That's the
Sure.
time when we break out of our robotic
Yep.
grind routine that we all do throughout the rest of the year. But it's fun because we're dictated by so many things. A lot of playing. Sometimes we take our kids and spend money to have them complaining somewhere else other than in home, known as vacation.
Yes.
But yeah, we actually did something cool real quick. Like if you're in an area where, like in Utah, Arizona, you happen to know there's a place called Lake Powell.
It's a magical, mystical place.
It's crazy. It's like a different planet, but it's so incredible. It's like the vacation that requires more sweat and energy and effort. Like
Yes.
You're exhausted because there's so much work, but
like you go to bed with a smile on your face, like you're so exhausted, but you've just had so much fun all day.
just playing out there and you're just in the middle of nowhere. It's really cool because it's like this web of water that goes through this desert,
Yeah, I mean, it's man-made, so
Yeah.
it's crazy.
and you'll be going down these channels that are like 300-400 feet high, right? Like these narrow channels, and the boat depth finders like 200-400 feet deep, and you're like, wow, this is crazy, but it's fun.
And then all of a sudden it'll be like 1,200 feet. And you're like, what?
Yeah. You're like, where are we? But hopefully everyone's enjoying summer. One of the podcasts we released, not last time, but the time before, was the challenges in navigating summer, right? Like summer weddings, summer events, family reunions, gatherings with an addicted loved one.
Yeah.
Sometimes we feel like we have a good footing and we're doing things different and better than we were, but then nothing challenges it more than these special events
Yeah, it's true.
where we kind of gray out or drop the boundaries and things that we've learned with our loved one. And it's normal. So if you didn't check that episode out, I challenge you to go do it.
Yeah, it was very, very good.
Today's episode 107. We're really excited. But most of all, before we start real quick, if you're newer to the show, I just want to say thank you. Take the opportunity to ask that when you do find an episode that benefits you, something that empowers you, to share it, please, whether it's on your social pages or just in passing with a friend. All of you've had the experience of hearing your similar story from someone, whether it's at the gym or at the store, sitting next to a soccer game or something, or at church, where someone else is in that place of like, what do I do? This is one of the very few resources out there, if any, that is fully focused on you. The individual standing on the sideline, these beautiful humans, whether you're a spouse, whether you're a sibling, whether you're a parent or a grandparent, you see this person headed down a path of destruction. And it's clearly become inevitable that there's a problem, right? The sick person, they can't see it. And if they can, they're very good at manipulating everyone. This is for you. What am I supposed to do? How do I speak to the disease of addiction? How do we get a different result? What is my role? What isn't my role? This is for you. So thank you for being here.
Thank you. And that was actually a really good segue into the topic, because this is one that we've not covered in this way before. So it's about relapse.
Ooh.
And it's really, the topic truly is like, gosh, they were doing so great. So what happened? How did they fall off the wagon? How did this happen? So it's like 1 minute you're going, okay, they're going back to church. They're kind of like they're back into the groove of life. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, it feels like they spiral. So in this episode, Danny, being the expert, is going to break down the real reasons that addicts relapse. And spoiler alert, it has nothing to do with willpower.
Yeah, that's a key point. It really doesn't.
So you're going to learn what's really happening beneath the surface and what most families get wrong about relapse. And this is the best part. It's like, how are you going to protect your heart if you're in this situation without enabling? So this is the truth that families need and the hope that you didn't know you were missing. So we're going to go over the 5 hidden reasons people relapse from addiction. So today we are going to pull back the curtain on something a lot of people don't talk about, but almost everybody experiences if they love an addict. And it's the why behind relapse. And we're not talking surface level stuff. We're going to go into the deeper end of this with 5 overlooked reasons that cause people to fall back into their addiction even after getting clean. So I would just want you to know this is fully educational. You're going to have some tools by the end of this and be able to change.
Yeah, we don't want to just talk about a topic. We want to empower you, like you said, with some tools, actionable steps, things that you didn't know before, so that hopefully this doesn't happen. Now, relapse itself is a big part of recovery. A lot of people talk about that. Yeah. Often it does take a relapse for someone to finally surrender and do what they need to. I don't think relapse needs to happen for people to recover. I think the reason it does is because the key individuals in their recovery are unequipped and uneducated about what to expect. And we're going to get into this and give you these 5 reasons. And what I mean by that is, yes, during the beginning of your loved one's process, other people than you are going to be a big part. They're going to play a big role, but only for a short period of time. And then to ensure everything happens afterwards requires someone to help them. For most people that recover, guess who that someone is that's requiring all these things? They wear a black gown. It's so weird. Like, I can't believe it hasn't changed. These poor judges, they have to wear like these gowns. I don't know if that'll ever change. But yes, usually those are the people who keep doing what they're supposed to. So we're going to get into this. But statistically speaking, you can go ahead and start searching, and you'll get a lot of different responses. But when it comes to relapse, the numbers are pretty alarming. And it's between 85 and 90% of people that even begin the process of healing. They go to some type of program. They relapse within the first 6 to 12 months of leaving the program. You might find it say 80, you might find it say 92, but a lot of them, a majority of them, right?
Yeah.
There's often also a program I went to, they use the thirds, and I've heard a couple others. Let me just tell you, they're guessing. When people leave, they don't often always keep contact with them. They're kind of unaware of what happens with a lot of people. But other programs will use the rule of thirds. They'll say, you know what? 1/3 of people will die from this. 1/3 of people will come back, and 1/3 of people will recover. So either way, we can do way better. Now, I am going to get this out of the way. There are a lot of people who fall deep into addictions who are unfortunate and do not have good, educated people who can and are willing to help them when they get out.
Right.
And that is what drastically, changes these numbers, unfortunately.
Yeah,
as well.
It's like generational addiction. They're really, really up against a wall.
I follow this guy on Instagram. He does a fentanyl. It's like a fentanyl project situation where he goes and he has a van. He helps people and picks these guys up off the road, and a few of them go into treatment. Well, they do, and when they get out, hopefully they find a little community of other addicts, but most of them aren't going back to someone like you, the person who's listening to this show.
Right.
So we can do better, but we have to understand better. Now, I will tell you, 10 years ago and beyond, programs that existed We're heavily involved with the families, almost all of them. But to give some context here, when I went to treatment over 18 years ago, there was like 8 or 9, I can't remember. It's somewhere between 7 and 10, just a handful in the state where I live. Now, flash forward 13 years down the road, I go get licensed and certified as an interventionist, and at the time realized that there's about 100. Now, currently today, so now here we are 18 years later, there's, what did we find out? 200?
It was 268.
200 something, right? 200, almost 300 licensed substance abuse programs in the state where I live. So you can see the demand is out there, and there's obviously with demand, you get supply. So there's tons of programs out there to help people. Here's the part. If you are listening or you listen into this episode and you own or work for a program, I love you. Without you, people don't heal. But these programs are full. They're no longer spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on their marketing and advertising. There's a demand. People are seeking them out. And the reason why is because insurance stepped in and said, hey, we now recognize addiction as a disease of the brain. So there's all this money to help people get the tools they need, right? So a demand has increased. People are coming to this program no matter what. And for reasons I hopefully don't need to explain, because I'm sure you can assume some of these aspects to the program have been removed. Believe it or not, to like, let's say you have a program of 15 that holds 15 people, 15 beds inside your program. Behind these 15 individuals are also, some of them have families. So now you've quadrupled the number of people affected by the addiction, and you're asking the same staff that you have to not only help the sick people there, but the family beyond. That's a big ask, and it's exhausting. These programs really have limited time with the people while they're there, so they don't have time to equip the family. Now, I'm not saying all, but a majority do not. So the family's been left on the side without support and tools. That's what we're hoping to change. And if a family understands what to do, the difference between boundaries and requests and what a long-term plan of recovery looks like, far fewer people relapse. Fair enough?
Sounds great.
Okay, well, let's move into it. Number one, the number one reason why people relapse is they jump ship before they had time to heal. Any knee-jerk reactions to that?
Well, it's having lived with somebody who was fresh into recovery, i.e. you, this makes perfect sense to me, because there's a big difference between being sober and being recovered. And I think it's really common, correct me if I'm wrong, that somebody who's sober thinks that they're recovered. And they're like ready to just be like, yep, I'm just doing my normal life. I'm going to do what I want to do. And, you know, I'm just going to kind of go back to my default mode. And that is where things can go south really quickly.
Yeah. Getting a loved one in addiction to surrender and go to a program is a monumental effort on its own. One that a lot of people don't.
Yeah, I was going to say that feels like huge.
But for those that do, they go. And here, aside from a clinical perspective that I'm going to provide, is a personal one. The first time I did go to treatment, I went. And within a couple of weeks, I stopped the poisons. I got healthy. I was eating better, sleeping better. Man, I was better. And because of who I was and the family I came from, I was great. Like, I was actually looking at the other people and they're kind of pitying them, going, oh, I'm good. I felt better. Mm-hmm. I was ready to go. Like, I truly felt that way. I was no longer trying to manipulate people. I had no intention of going back and using anymore at that point. I was good. I was ready to go. Just let me go. I wasn't even close. It's laughable. And anyone who's been through this knows. Here's real talk. If you go to the hospital and have a massive surgery because you're really hurt, major accident, and right after the surgery, you just get up and walk out.
Yeah, you're like, my spine's repaired. I'm good.
You just walk out. And they're like, no, please. You need to go do this. You need to go to physical therapy. And you need to sit over here and heal for a little while. And we got to change the bandages and do all this. You're like, no, I'm good. The disease of addiction is a brain disease, but more or less it's a spiritual or emotional wound. And for some reason, because we can't often see it, right? Like if your loved one's a meth addict, like eventually it starts showing up and you can see the physical side. But for everyone else, we can't see all of the trauma and the pain and the bleeding because it's on the inside.
Right. Yeah. It's internal bleeding. Like,
so there's no other circumstances in life when our loved ones really hurt where we just like leave against medical advice.
yeah.
We just decide that we're good. And then if someone does that, the family's like, oh, great. Like, yeah, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
So most people relapse because they don't take the next steps to healing. They don't enter a physical therapy program, so to speak, right? An outpatient program. And a lot of families are just unaware. If you were a spouse or a parent and your loved one went to treatment, most of you are assuming that these qualified professionals are going to take over and do everything necessary to fix your loved one. They are amazing people, and they're going to do the very best they can, like the people in the ER, to stabilize them. They don't have, unfortunately, a lot of time and energy and resources to actually help and equip you with what's next, but they're telling your loved one these same things. And at the end of the day, it's just human nature. None of us want to. How many of us start a diet and we're so determined for like a week, and then what happens?
Well, yeah, I think that's one big part is it's human nature to want things to be better, right? Like you want to see the progress and be like, great, we're done with that. Like next chapter, let's flip the page. We're moving forward now, which is totally normal. It's just, unfortunately, in this scenario, not viable. Like it's truly like the most dangerous thing you could do is to kind of just breeze past it and be like, okay, we did the rehab thing. Now we're done. And I mean, especially if this is your spouse and you're like counting on their income and they need to get back to work. And it's just kind of like one of those things where you're wanting life to resume normal activity because quite frankly, your life depends on it.
It's true. You know what? I'm actually going to kind of breeze through the next couple if you're wondering what they are, because they all kind of intertwine.
Okay, let's do number 2.
So number 2 is families are not empowered with what a long-term recovery plan looks like. I started alluding to this already. And why should you? Have you gone through a life-threatening addiction? No. So why would you know what the next steps are? It's
this one is honestly probably the biggest one for me because I'm like, no one knows. And unfortunately, a facility is going to maybe tell you like, yeah, you should be doing this and you should be doing that, but they're not really comprehensively helping you walk through that and map it out and understand like how to transition from these parts and how to hold your loved one accountable through it. Like,
I know
it's a nightmare.
And I love that you said that because I know a lot of people listening might be thinking, well, okay, great, but how do I get them to do it? We're going to get into that. So let me go through these and then backtrack a little bit.
So 2 was families are not empowered with a long-term recovery blueprint.
And guess what? Here's the kicker. Families who are not equipped and they don't become part of the solution, then unintentionally, they're just part of the problem in the continued cycle. Knowing the blueprint, right? I know the elephant in the room is how we make it possible. We'll touch on that. But knowing the blueprint is number 2. And then number 3 is the failure to take next steps because of willingness.
Right.
Your loved one. Recovery invites a lifetime of choices now, right? During the addiction, they've lost their agency. They've lost their ability to choose. In recovery, there's a lot of opportunities to choose, but you have to remember they're still recovering from something horrible. All the behaviors, the underlying issues, the challenges that they were numbed from and escaped from in their addiction now come like to the front in full force.
Yep.
So, newsflash. No one, if it's an 18-year-old child or a 48-year-old spouse, is wanting or willing to keep doing this without some influence.
Right. So it's truly like it's not about not knowing the steps. It's literally that they are not willing to take those steps.
And please, it feels so personal. It feels so personal. Like even when you say the right things and even if you understand like what recovery agreements are and how to like negotiate your help based upon them doing this, that's what our whole program is based upon. It's actually really cool because a little chime in on that. In our program, statistically, we're about 80%, 75% of people.
78%.
78, thank you. In the program get their loved ones into treatment within the first few months of doing the program. But what I love is a lot of our groups are dedicated to those whose loved ones are currently in treatment or in the first few months of recovery because they're continually learning what to expect. Because it always feels so personal when the person's like, no, I'm done. I'm not going to do it. And they're like, oh my gosh, what if they don't do it?
Yeah, well, and nothing's more scary than that.
Or they start getting manipulated of like, oh my gosh, maybe you are better. You do sound better. You look better. And so they just fall victim to not knowing, right?
Right.
Number 4 is false sense of security. I already kind of covered this one, that I'm better now. That's just human nature. But it's also the reality that your loved one, although poisons were removed, this is what I hope you can remember a few things from each episode, and this would be one. The substances, the poisons, I use the word poisons. It could be illicit drugs, prescription medication, alcohol, pornography, most often a combination of all of them. Those are the poisons. That is not the problem. It's a hurdle that's in front of us that we need to get over, but it's why. If trauma is what forced them into addiction, we need to address it. If they just started out of curiosity, peer pressure, no good reason, in their addiction they found trauma. We've got to address those underlying issues. So that false sense of reality is they're looking at the alcohol or the drugs as a problem, right? And as soon as those are removed, they're like, I haven't taken anything for 2 weeks. I'm good. They haven't even begun to understand why.
Yeah.
And can you see the correlation here? That if they just leave thinking they're better,
right,
no one knows better of how to hold them accountable. They go back into life. They're exposed to their failures. They're exposed to the time they wasted. They're exposed to the people they hurt. And they don't even know how to navigate any feeling.
No, that bingo.
So as soon as they start to feel, and guess what? If it's threatened in the slightest bit, why the hell do so many people relapse? Well, isn't it just obvious? So number 5, and then we're going to go back. No boundaries equals what?
Failure.
Guaranteed failure. Boundaries protect sobriety from people, triggers, environmentals, and most of all, internal thinking. Without boundaries, relapse is inevitable. And often it's predictable. Because as soon as you see their efforts stop or slow, you know it's coming. Boundaries are not walls. They are barricades, right? Like the good example is like when there's a pothole or an accident on the road or some construction, we all are so annoyed, right? Like, who's the company that makes those stupid barricades? Like, I'm talking about those orange things.
I don't know. I wish it was me, though.
Oh, my gosh. There's so many all over the world. But they start like a mile ahead and then a mile after for this one little spot. It's no similar to what we're doing here. These boundaries are guardrails so that they don't fail.
But it's hard. The reason why that's hard is because of what we've said in the previous points, which is they look better. They're telling you they're better. You actually know, maybe even for a fact they are indeed sober. So you feel like this, you feel torn where you're like, well, am I punishing them if I'm holding these boundaries? Because look at how much they've done. Look how hard they've tried. Look how much they've changed. And this is going to get really discouraging if we have these boundaries held in place. No. The boundaries are because you love them and you want that to continue, and you love the rest of your family and you want the healing to continue. And the number one component to that is the time, right?
We had a couple people join the program recently whose loved ones actually were in treatment. And what was interesting? There was a hesitation with some of them because they're like, well, I don't need it anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, no, this is so great because we get to maximize the entire time that you're in this program, doing everything that's impactful because they already started. But the truth is, you just got them to the very starting line of a marathon.
Yeah.
They haven't even gone beyond that. Yeah, they're starting point. They're just at it, right? It's 3 a.m. It's dark. They're standing with a little bottle of water and they're at the starting line. But man, there's a long road ahead.
Yeah.
So can I just please read through these real quick and then I'm going to tie it together and process it. these are the main 5 reasons why people relapse. They jump ship before they had time to heal. Families don't have the blueprint. They're not empowered with what the next steps are. It's confusing. The failure to take next steps because your loved one's not willing. Your loved one is no different than anybody else. They're not unique. All of them are unwilling. Most of them experience a false sense of I'm better now. As soon as we take the problem, right? The problem's the drugs or alcohol. As soon as that's away, I'm better. No, clearly it's not. And then 5 is there's no boundaries, which equals guaranteed failure.
Can I add one? And
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not really like a full point, but I do want to say, and this has happened so many times before that I've heard, Danny, is what do you do when you've been on a really strict diet and it's your birthday? You reward yourself. You're like, I'm going to, you know what?
Splurge.
I'm going to splurge just today because I can. I'm not going to, I already know how to be accountable. So just today, I'm going to go buy a cherry pie because that's my favorite. Guess
what? Newsflash. She did.
I did do
a while
that.
back, and she ate the whole thing.
I did. And
little
I know.
by little.
Yeah. But anyway, that's another just thing that happens because, again, the brain isn't fully healed. It doesn't understand, like, I can't do that. Like, my body I don't have like cognitive reasoning skills over my addiction.
No, do you know that a lot of people, here's an addict's perspective. So this isn't mine. This is just all those in recovery, healing from their addiction. They'll have that. It's a reward thing.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, I just finished a 60-day program. Like, I'm just going to reward myself this one night.
Yeah.
There's another crazy thought, equally as crazy, that they have often, which is, you know what? I'm going to just see, like, I'm 60 days in. I'm going to just do it this one time to see if I can just do it this one time.
Yeah.
These are insane thoughts, but to a brain that's healing, right? It's not fixed. There's nothing about fixing here. It's healing. That you can see where that would make sense.
Yeah.
Something or someone has to intervene for people to get the process of healing started. But please understand, even if you're successful, to get your loved one to one of the best programs available.
Mm-hmm.
You're willing to help pay the difference on the bill. They go there. It's very impressive. There are professionals. It's a great environment. They just finished surgery in the ER. Mm-hmm. When they leave, are we even walking to the room? You know how they have those rooms like where you go and heal?
The recovery rooms.
Recovery rooms. We haven't even got to a recovery room. And did we wait? And did we together have a plan of like, hey, here's your outpatient care. You know, these are the steps you're going to do. Here's your physical therapist. Here's here's what you're going to do physically. Here's the sleeping. There's all this stuff that they give. It's the same. Why do we take it differently? Because you don't know better. And even if your loved one's being told these things on the inside, what do you think they're going to tell you? They're going to tell you the minimal. No one wants to.
And how are you, even if you knew in detail what it was, how do you know how to hold them to it?
Yeah. Here's how it works. Some people often, it gets so bad that they might even just be willing on their own to go get help, which is rare. Usually it takes an influence from other people to get them started. But the people who stay in recovery, who take the steps, and that's what we teach through our program, are all the transitions, because there's transition from A to B, B to C, C to D, to ensure that they have time for what? To heal. How long have they been using? How long have they been stuck in the addiction? Do we think that all of that built up for however long is just going to be resolved?
In 45 days?
Here's another thing.
Or even 3 months?
Sorry, if you own a program, I'm going to pull the skirt up a little bit and remind everybody the truth. I know you're doing amazing work. If someone comes to a program and they're there for 30 days, 75% of the time or more that they're in that awesome place, guess what? They are crawling out of their skin. They're still withdrawing. Their body's still acclimating. They're so exhausted most of the day, their brain hardly works. They're sweating. They're agitated. Their stomach's in knots. No matter what they're taking, that they get very little beneficial therapy while they're there. It's really just a holding place to get them stable and stop the bleeding. They might barely start working on themselves emotionally and spiritually. So for people to keep taking these steps, stop looking at it as so personal. Stop looking at it in such a unique way that your loved one's not willing to do these next steps. People only are willing to keep doing the steps if a judge court orders it, or you put in place boundaries. Boundaries are so much different than threats or requests. That's what everybody does until people stop, ask for help, surrender, change themselves, get the tools and support they need to speak boundaries. Boundaries are, oh my gosh, I can't believe what this did to me. I'm now seeing things different. I'm recognizing how I contributed to this. Wow, I'm different now. I'm changing and I'm healing with you. So for me to keep doing that, this is what is necessary for me to feel safe. I understand that might require you doing some things, and I'm totally okay with that. I've got my voice back. I understand, and I'm not even trying to be mean or controlling. That's what I did before. This is clearly what you need, and I'm healing with you. That is the transformative part of this. When the few people in our program are willing to do that, that's where everything changes. They're not asking someone to do something or throwing out a threat. They're like, I'm doing this. I'm learning. I have community. I have professional help. I have tools. It's how it changes, because all of this, it's never going to be perfect. But if we put boundaries in place with everything necessary to have boundaries, your loved one gets time. And the more time they get with accountability and structure, the better chance they have to heal. There is really no mystery, but everyone just sits there and wonders and looks, and they're looking for a cure, right? Everyone's like, oh, well, you just need to go get ketamine treatments. You just need to get on another prescription. Hell no. They need discomfort. They need to feel discomfort for a period of time with those barricades in place. It's not just your boundaries. It's a program. It's accountability, all that, so they can heal. If those other things are necessary, medications are involved, great. But we need to allow a person time to heal. But doing that is so much easier said than done. And if you try to do it on your own, the illness of addiction that's so powerful and manipulative, it will wear you down. It will betray you. And guess what? They jumped ship before they had time to heal, and you jumped ship way too quick. So please stop doing this alone. If you're trying to actually navigate through this and have success, do what you're asking your loved one to do. Get yourself help and support. Those that are willing to do that, that's where the magic truly happens.
Oh, you are not kidding. That is the truth. So which one of these 5 points do you relate to? I want to know. Message us and let us know, which one personally do you relate to the most? And share this with someone else who needs to hear it, because we know that you all know someone who is at this point. And what a huge blessing this exact episode could be for someone else. And then I'm going to go ahead and close with the serenity prayer for families. God, grant me the serenity to accept that I cannot change other people, the courage to change the person that I can, and the wisdom to know that it is me.
Thanks for being here, guys. Have a great week.